Dear listener, this is not an ad, it's just a humble request from me personally. This November, I'm running the New York City Marathon with Soccer Without Borders, and I'm trying to raise $8,000 for the organization. Running the New York City Marathon has been a lifelong dream of mine, and if you listen to this show, you also know soccer is basically a lifelong obsession. Between me and Father Saul talking Champions League totally unnecessarily every other episode, and all my tortured sports metaphors, none of this should come as a surprise to you. What I love about Soccer Without Borders is that they use the game to create belonging, mentorship, confidence, and opportunity for young people, especially kids from immigrant and underserved communities, refugees a lot of the times too. It's a mission that really means a lot to me. This will also be personally my 8th marathon and very possibly my last, so I wanted to tie it to something bigger than myself. And if you're able to support even $1, $5, $10, it genuinely makes a huge difference and gets me closer to the fundraising goal. It would mean the world to me. There's a donation link in the show notes if you want to contribute. Seriously, thank you guys. All right, let's get into the episode. Today on the LA Food Podcast, an episode that's not just good, dear listener, it's Locks Level 9.9. That's right, dear listener, we've got none other than the man behind viral food content creation sensation, Rick Locks, on the show today. His name's Adam Alper, and I've had the good fortune of getting to know him a little bit over the last couple months. Not only could he not be more of a chill dude, he's also so passionate and well-versed in the ins and outs of LA's dining scene, it's almost like talking to an encyclopedia if that encyclopedia also had a shining personality. We discuss how he kind of accidentally got into the content creation game, what made his salmon-loving alter ego explode into virality, and how he navigates the expected ups and downs that come with the territory. But first, in part 1, we've got the one and only Karen Palmer with us. She's been on a journalism tear, dropping dime after dime for SFGate. We discuss her articles on the brand new Erewhon knockoff, the rise and fall and rise again of the Helms District in Culver City, and the persisting struggles of LA's fashion district. There's recent eats at Jacaranda, LA's hottest new tasting menu, and a chef's kiss big miss featuring the New York Times 100 list, a vermin infestation forcing multiple iconic LA restaurants to close, and pending legislation that could seriously F with New York pizza. Housekeeping note, I'm going on my honeymoon for the next 2 weeks, dear listener. I'll be zipping around Italy with my wife, eating well and talking exclusively with my hands. But the next 2 weeks will feature some of the best interviews we've ever done on this podcast, featuring the likes of Jessica Koslow of Squirrel. That one's happening next week. And then the week after that, we've got Bub and Grandma's Andy Caden. So while the cat's away, the mice won't play, the mice will listen to the LA Food Podcast. That's what the mice will do. A reminder that the LA Food Podcast is part of the Acquired Taste Media family. Be sure to listen to our sister podcast, Takeando with Bill Esparza. This week, Bill had Noah Galutin on, who a lot of you loved when he was on this podcast, as well as a gentleman by the name of Eloy Alvarez, who's pretty much the Yoda of carne asada in Sonora. So that's what they discussed on this episode. It was a doozy. You're not going to want to miss it. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Servodio, and without further ado, it's time to chow down. Welcoming back to the LA Food Podcast, none other than our fearless Bravo correspondent. Karen, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Luca?
I am great, but the question is, did you watch Summer House last night?
You know, I did not watch last night, so I'm a little behind. I mean, I'm up on all of the scandal, but I did not see last night's episode. I feel like the reunion is going to be so good, and I can't wait.
It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild.
Yeah.
It is just like one of those things where every episode they are now sprinkling little nuggets of West and Amanda's burgeoning relationship.
Totally. Like there was I saw something today about like maybe there was a little like touchy-feely stuff happening. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this all unfolds or unravels, as it will.
Do you think we should try to get West Wilson as a guest on this podcast?
I mean, absolutely. Or Sierra. I mean,
Sierra would be better, yeah.
she and Austin Rob went to eat some veal parm after they did Traders together. So I feel like she might have more interesting food takes. Just saying.
I'm sure she has more interesting everything than West. So
Totally. Team Sierra still.
let's start with some listener feedback. We had an anecdote on the last episode in which a couple pulled up to the Minetta Tavern bar. Have you been to Minetta Tavern?
I have. It's been a while, but I have been there a few times.
Okay,
yeah.
so you know the vibe though. But they pull up to the bar and they proceeded to order expensive steak and no alcohol. The reporter who posted about this seemed very offended also by the fact that they plopped their Harry Potter branded water bottles on the bar and were wearing workout clothes and Apple Watches. Now, we kind of just joked about it and said this was a power move, but on Spotify comments, Manuel says, if people in gym clothes isn't a vibe killer at a nice restaurant, then what is? I feel like an a-hole for being annoyed at sitting next to an influencer at Baru now. Karen, where do you stand on this? And what's worse, these people or sitting next to an influencer at Baru?
I mean, that's a tough question. I kind of feel like unless somebody is like really inappropriately dressed, like if they're in a bathing suit and flip-flops in a high-end restaurant, like it's kind of like if you're going to let that ruin your dinner, it's on you. Like, might I pass a little judgment? Sure. I think the biggest crime here is the Harry Potter water bottles, personally. But if the restaurant was okay with it, then I don't know. Like, what are you going to do?
But if it was a Bruce Springsteen water bottle, you would have been all the way the fuck back in.
Oh, I would have been like, fuck yeah. No, I'm kidding. No, it's just, I don't know. It's like, having been to Minetta Tavern, do I think like workout clothes and, Apple Watches is necessarily like appropriate attire? No, but it's not like, I mean, especially here in LA, people are in athleisure like 24/7. So it's kind of like, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to let that ruin your dinner or just kind of laugh about it and then drink your martini and eat your steak? Like, I don't know.
I'm going to go one step further than I did last time when I said this was aspirational. What's one of the best parts of going out to dinner? It's people watching. Now, these people are giving you something interesting to watch and discuss.
Exactly. And you can talk about it. Like, yeah. Would you rather have a boring dinner with nobody in athletic gear? I don't know.
No, I know what world I want to live in.
I'm kind of I'm kind of on the side of like the fact that this reporter let it bother them so much is kind of like, that's on you.
Yeah. Fair enough. Good try, Manuel. Other listener feedback. On the last episode, Saul and I expressed our excitement for Enrique Olvera's new cevicheria coming to Abbot Kinney later this year. On Instagram, Glenn Mack said, gonna be tough to take the Venetian crowd from River. Karen, Saul and I have talked about this place ad nauseum, but how amped on River are you?
So, and we've talked about this too. I like River.
Oh yeah, we've talked about it.
I have only eaten there a few times, but I thought the food was outstanding. I thought the cocktails were outstanding. It's a very like vibey place. Here's the thing. I like little zag on this conversation. Like, so I'm assuming, Enrique Olvera is opening in the same spot where he had Atla, right?
Correct.
I'm just wondering if this is kind of like a cursed restaurant space and like whether this cevicheria is going to actually work out. And I mean, he's so talented and like love everything he does pretty much. But yeah, I'm more wondering like, is this going to work on Abbot Kinney? I don't know. Because it's kind of like, it's a little bit past like where most of the foot traffic is. And I don't know, he already had one concept there that didn't work out. So time will tell. All
right. We've already talked about cursed restaurant spaces, you and I fully believe in them. And this could be one of them. In fact, if I were a betting man, I would totally place a poly market bet on this one. Although I want it to succeed. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, no, totally. Like I think and especially like a cevicheria by the beach, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But we'll see if it actually works out.
We shall see. All right. Where have you been eating recently, Karen?
Okay. So I went to a friends and family at Jacaranda, which is Daniel Patterson's new tasting menu restaurant. And if I'm going to be honest, which I feel like I should, I had some mixed feelings about it.
Fair.
Super cool space. It's very intimate. I mean, like, it's only like a handful of tables in there. So it's tiny, you really feel like you get to interact with like the team, and Daniel was out like serving and, chit-chatting at tables and stuff. So that was very cool.
Sorry, is it the tired food writer cliche jewel box? Would you describe the restaurant as a jewel box?
I would describe it as a jewel box, actually. But yeah, no, I just, first of all, I mean, I am just a little over the tasting menu thing anyway, personally, which is a very privileged and maybe snotty thing to say. But I mean, I think one of my biggest issues with it, there were some fantastic dishes, but for a 12-course menu or 10, I think it was 10-course menu, like there was one tiny little piece of fish and one shrimp, like tiny little shrimp, and a slice of duck breast, all of which were delicious. But like that meal for 2 people with wine pairings and tip would be $1,200.
What?
Because I was at Friends and Family, I, full disclosure, did not pay for it. I just left a tip. But yeah, $1,200 for some very dainty vegetables and like a teeny tiny bit of protein. So it's just, I don't know. This is what I struggle with the whole tasting menu fine dining thing. Yeah. It's like, what is, yes, you're getting a very special, intimate experience with the chef. And again, he's very talented and, kind of a visionary in that field. But I don't know, in terms of the value. I mean, my friend and I literally went and had a snack afterwards. So
what was the snack?
We went to Bar Benjamin and had like a couple of martinis and like a cheese plate and some other stuff. My martini actually came with the potato chips. It was the Ben's martini.
Oh yeah, the Ben's martini.
So yeah, so we just kind of noshed a little bit, but both of us were kind of like, I could still eat. So
yeah, it's tough because I feel like, with those kinds of restaurants, part of what you're selling is the experience.
Right.
I think back to, well, we didn't have this problem at Celine, but because at Celine, we were getting full. Mm-hmm. Like they paced it scientifically perfectly to the point where like by dessert, I was starting to think to myself, I'm kind of full, but like in a pleasant way. So that was perfect. But there you're also paying for the experience, mm-hmm. like the built out space.
Sure.
The theatricality of some of the dishes, even like being asked to like get up and move during the meal, not like in a weird sports way, but like just like have a snack over here kind of way. The fact that they're kind of intentionally making this tasting menu feel like you're kind of in someone's house, as I understand mm-hmm. it, like it's a bit more intimate, right? I can see how that would be a tough sell. This may be one for the heads, although, I like both Daniel and Sarah. I sincerely hope it succeeds, and I'm really excited to go personally.
Right.
But I'm excited. I feel like it's been universally positive. It's good to have a little bit of a zag here. That's what Friends and Family is for. It's to provide feedback.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think, it's interesting. I feel like most other food media people that I've seen either talked to or seen, posting stuff online. And again, like, I'm not saying the food wasn't delicious. Yeah. I'm not saying they're not super talented. It's more like just my personal opinion on tasting menus and like what that experience should deliver.
100%. All right. Where else have you been eating?
So actually the other place I was going to talk about, I also went to a Friends and Family. It's Picala. It's a new Spanish restaurant from the Acme restaurant group, which is out of Santa Barbara. And
oh yeah,
it's a beautiful space. It's out, I think it's La Cienega. It's like kind of West Adams adjacent.
Yeah.
In this building that also has like a whole food, it's a large kind of modern apartment building, like if you drive down,
oh, I know exactly where that is. Yeah.
If you drive down La Cienega, I'm sure you've been by it a million times, but the food was great. Service was actually lovely. Some very classic Spanish dishes like pan con tomate and, patatas bravas and that kind of stuff. But also very seasonal. Like they had like an artichoke dish and just really lovely. My only concern with that place is also kind of the location, just because I feel like it's, unless you live in that area or live in that building, it's kind of a tough sell. But but again, had a great experience and I hope it does well.
Yeah, it's also very like not Acme,
Right.
because aren't there restaurants like they're like funk zone restaurants in Santa Barbara, like
Yeah, exactly.
the Lark and Lokita, and it's like very
Right,
walkable, and you can drink a wine between restaurant and feel the
right.
ocean breeze on your face. So interesting challenge for them, but hey,
Yeah,
challenges build character, I've been told.
exactly. So best of luck.
Best of luck to Picala.
Where have you been eating, Luca?
I went to Justa for the first time in a very long time. We were meeting up with friends that made the mistake of moving to New York, and then we're back here in town for a wedding. Shout out Shane and Alessandra. And I don't know why I was really feeling the tuna sandwich. I feel like whenever I see albacore tuna sandwich on a menu, I think there was an era of tuna sandwiches when they were trying to omit mayonnaise altogether and just leaning into like
the olive oil kind of.
olive oil and like pickles and things
Yeah.
like that to make a tuna salad. And I think it was kind of like a health conscious thing. But so when I see albacore tuna, that's immediately what I think I'm going to get. I was so pleasantly surprised with the mayo heaviness on this tuna salad at Justa, which with the bread sopping it up, it was a thing of like absolute beauty. So highly recommend the tuna sandwich from Justa. And then Saul and I went to go see the Pistons game 4 against the Cavs at PJ Palace. It obviously was impossible to get a reservation a little while ago, probably a couple years ago. It hasn't been that way for quite some time. And I think it really has just become the perfect neighborhood restaurant where like you can go sidle up to the bar, grab a slightly Indian pizza and a beer and watch a sports game. Like I actually never thought it would achieve that level of comfortability, that restaurant, after having gone in the early days. And I was really pleasantly surprised. I was obviously there to judge the pizza. And I remember not liking it back in the day. This time it kind of hits. And I think it's just because my pizza horizons have expanded. I'm no longer such like a stickler for it's got to have this kind of fermentation or dough, like whatever. I've kind of come to appreciate there's a million different styles. And if it holds up on certain basic fundamental levels, I can accept it as a pizza. And this was honestly like flirting with tavern style. Not, obviously not pure tavern style, but with that sort of Indian twist.
Thin, crispy. Yeah.
Very crispy, very thin, and very salty, but like intentionally so that you drink more, which is, what you want in a fucking tavern style pie. So really enjoy it.
Exactly. And at a sports bar. So there you go. They did it.
And at a sports bar. Yeah. Although there's a moment at a dinner. So a couple of our friends came and met us like after the game had already started, and we had dinner, and one of my friends brought their kid. I love that kid to death, but it was just the most fun boys night ever because it was just, 4 guys and this kid. It felt like a movie, where like the dad might get like lost and then we have to raise his child for him. But like I was the only person drinking at one point, and I was like, this is weird. I should stop drinking now. This is like,
You're like, there is a child here, I suppose.
Yeah. Anyways, PJ Palace, definitely worth revisiting. Karen, are you down for a round of what Karen's been working on lately?
You know I am. Let's do it.
There we go. You actually, I know it's been too long between our episodes when I look at your page and I just see banger after banger after banger. And there are honestly too many stories to discuss, but I wanted to start with what I think is probably the hottest topic right now, and that's the opening of a brand new fancy luxury grocery store, something we do so well in Los Angeles. Tell us about Laurel Supply. What the hell is it?
Yeah, so Laurel Supply comes from the owners of the restaurants Laurel Hardware and Laurel Grill. So many Laurels.
Yeah.
And yeah, they've been working on this concept for a few years, very close to where Laurel Hardware is in West Hollywood. But basically, it's like an Erewhon style grocery store, has a lot of the same elements, the hot bar, juices. They're doing a smoothie and tonic bar. What's interesting to me is like this grocery store opened over the weekend very quietly, no website, no social media announcement, and somehow the influencers found it. You know what I mean? Like, well, I guess like if you live in the neighborhood and you're keeping an eye on it, I mean, it's like you could tell from the looks of it that it was going to be kind of like an Erewhon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually went yesterday and just kind of like poked around, was looking at the prices of everything. They have a huge health and wellness section, much like Erewhon, selling things like colostrum and peptides and just all
my favorite
plant-based protein powder, just like basically any like wellness elixir you could think of. Prebiotic sodas, every milk alternative you could possibly imagine, really posh bottled water,
Wow.
like it's just like
it's heaven on earth.
It is very much Erewhon in its DNA. That said, they're doing some things that are a little different. Like they have an in-house bakery. They have a couple of Erewhons have this, but they're doing wood-fired pizza. They have like a full-on sushi counter, a butcher counter. It's interesting. Again, it's just like my intro to the story was saying like the hottest openings in LA are no longer like nightclubs or restaurants or even like streetwear drops. It's grocery stores. And that's like such an odd thing. But people are just obsessed with like this aspirational lifestyle that they provide. Or that's my take on it. But
no, I think you're right. If Bill Hader updated that bit he did on Weekend Update, who was the guy?
Oh, the Californians?
No, the guy who did the hot new openings in New York.
Oh, Stefan. Yes, Stefan.
Yes.
He'd be like, this has everything. Prebiotic soda.
It's got raw alien milk.
Exactly.
Yeah, all this, yeah.
Totally. Not so far off.
That's what he would do. I think you're so on the money with that. The crazy thing that you also bring up in your piece is this sort of tension between the fact that everything is so fucking expensive and we have this affordability crisis. Right. And, Spencer Pratt is out there talking about how he's going to do everything to like make gas less expensive, et cetera, et cetera. And then all the while, people are lining up for $17 tortilla chips. Right. Like, make it make sense.
I mean, again, I think it's just part of that aspirational lifestyle. And I do think Erewhon has done a good job of making it a community. Like they have their membership, so you feel like you're kind of like part of something cool. But when push comes to shove too, I mean, you can go to these places and get something less ridiculously expensive. Or, if you're going there on a splurge once in a week and buying like a smoothie or their hot bar thing, like it's not, that's not necessarily going to break the bank. It's more like, I just wonder, like who is actually shopping there all the time because it's just prohibitively expensive.
Well,
but it is, it's interesting because like restaurants keep closing, prices keep getting like just food prices keep getting higher and higher. And the fact that people are like, obsessed with these bougie grocery stores is kind of crazy.
Yeah, well, I have a theory about it actually now that you mentioned it, and it reminds me of post the 2008 recession. Mm-hmm. I just moved to Los Angeles. Great, I have great sense of timing. I knew there was going to be a bunch of jobs here.
Totally.
But I ended up working at the J. Crew at Century City. And J. Crew, nice clothes, like nice place, like pretty expensive, especially to a college student. Not cheap clothes, but it's not like Louis Vuitton or Gucci or all these places.
Sure.
I asked like the people that worked there and the people who liaised with corporate, so to speak, are people worried about the recession and the economy? And they're like, no, actually we're doing great because all of the like ultra wealthy and like Bel Air and Beverly Hills and things like that, they can't afford Gucci and Louis Vuitton right now. So they're all shopping at J. Crew because it's like one rung below.
Right.
And I was thinking, maybe now with like this economy, actually Erewhon is like the affordable option for like the super rich West Siders who used to like just go to like, I don't know, the Ivy for lunch. They're like, you know what? I'll just get the $30 combo plate at Erewhon instead and save some money.
Right. I'll get my grilled chicken and 2 sides for $30.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it.
Did you try the food?
I did. I tried a slice of pizza and I tried some stuff from the hot bar. Both were very good. I actually really like the pizza.
Is the pizza worth a review?
Oh, that's a great question. I would give them a minute to like get all their shit together, but I thought it was very good. Especially for like, if you're talking about like grocery store pizza, like I don't really eat like Whole Foods pizza or, anywhere, any of that stuff. But no, they like, and they obviously, they do pizza at Laurel Hardware and at Laurel Grill, I believe. So like, it's not like this is their first rodeo with making pizza. Plus, they bought a flour mill that they're going to be like milling flour for like
Oh, cool.
eventually for the pizza and like house-made pasta and that kind of stuff and baked goods. So it'd be interesting to check it out.
I clocked that in your piece. It was a Ukrainian one. I love that they're supporting the Ukrainian economy.
Yep.
So the other thing that strikes me about this is it's the Laurel hardware people who opened Laurel Grill, which was widely just basically, and you even mentioned it in your piece, but it's basically just been talked about as a Hillstone knockoff.
Right.
Then they opened this place, which is an Erewhon knockoff. Is their business plan just to like create really good knockoffs of extremely popular and successful places?
Maybe, and maybe that's not a bad idea. Like I feel like the Hillstone model is pretty proven. People love it. And the Erewhon model is pretty proven. So, yeah.
So what's next?
Ooh.
Laurel matcha?
Maybe a sugarfish knockoff, like a
I like
Laurel
that.
fish.
Laurel hand rolls. Laurel fish. I wouldn't eat that. I would not eat that. No. All right, look, let's move on from Laurel Supply to another interesting development that you covered, which is the Helms Design District, which feels like it's been kind of a roller coaster. I remember it being talked about like, this shiny new thing with Helms Bakery. And then, of course, Helms Bakery closed and everybody was talking about this must be a terrible place to do business. And then all of a sudden, it seems like it's a good place to do business again. What's going on?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, there were a bunch of closures, both restaurant and retail. There was Helms Bakery, Sang Yoon's version that was only open for about a year. There was that Austrian place whose name is now escaping me.
It was really good.
Lustig, that closed after, being around for a couple of years. And then like on the retail side, HG Buttercup closed, maybe like 6 months ago, which was that huge corner, location in the building. So it's interesting that not only did 3 new places open, 2 restaurants and 1 retail, but they all opened the same weekend, like 2 weekends ago. So it was
wild.
IKEA opened in part of the HG Buttercup space. They're doing kind of what they're calling a city center, smaller IKEA. You can still go and like look at furniture, but I think a lot of it you have to like order versus being able to like walk out with it. And then Folk's Pizzeria, which is from Costa Mesa originally, opened in another corner location on kind of the other side of the complex. And right next to that, a Japanese restaurant, Hayama by Watami, also opened. Like literally all of them the same weekend. So it's just interesting because like I went that Sunday night and there were lines at IKEA. People were lining up for Folks because they were taking some reservations, but were holding tables for walk-in. So it just seems like all of a sudden there's some new energy there. And then there are some other, restaurant and retail tenants still coming in. Gump's, which is a very well-known San Francisco like luxury department store, is taking over the other part of the HG Buttercup space. And then actually Goop Kitchen is going in to the Helms Bakery space that Sang Yoon had. So
talk about pizza. I hear their pizza is actually not bad.
Yeah. I mean, I have friends who love it. It's gluten-free, so it's its own thing, but like
you can only do so much.
But I do have friends who genuinely love it. I have eaten it and I enjoy it. I wouldn't say it's in like my top 10 pizzas in LA or
that would have blown my fucking 30, mind. If Karen Palmer is like, Goop is in my top 10 pizzas, I would have dropped everything and got a Goop Kitchen right now.
I mean, hey, I order Goop Kitchen a lot. Like I love their salads and actually they make this like penne with vodka sauce that I really like. But it's like a dairy-free, I don't know.
Wow.
So, it's a whole thing. Yeah, I'm curious to see what they'll do with the space. I'm not really sure how that's going to be configured or, like if it's kind of grab and go or if it's sit down or whatever. But yeah, Gwyneth, they'll have a real restaurant versus just doing ghost kitchens.
Yeah, although I think that is such a cool piece of real estate. Again, the problem I think there is location. It's just like you kind of have to drive to it. But I think that a place like Goop can actually succeed because they do so much goddamn delivery.
Yeah, exactly.
They can make up for the
it offsets.
Exactly. Yep.
And yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I always wonder. This is something I've been mulling over for
conspiracy?
a long time.
Conspiracy theory?
Will Culver City ever actually be cool? I don't know.
Ooh, it's a good question. I thought, when I was in college,
Everybody in Culver City is going to come after me.
yeah. Well, the real estate price just dipped there after you said that. So, I used to think it was appealing for some reason when I was in college and looking for places to live. But yeah, the more I spend time there, the more I feel like, yeah, I'm good.
Right.
I've been meaning to try Folks for the longest time. Was this your first time or had you been before?
It's great. No, I had been to the original once. Yeah, it's sourdough pizza, super like puffy crust. Really great little gem Caesar. Their wings were delicious. I mean, definitely try it. I'm a fan.
And look, the last story of yours I wanted to cover before we get into Chef's Kiss Big Miss is your story actually about Santee Alley. Now, last year I produced a podcast for Bill Esparza on this topic when the ice raids were at their peak during the summer.
Right.
And the mood there when we went was dire. We sat down with Naomi Mendoza, who you also spoke to, the owner of Cuernavaca's Grill. You basically checked on how it's doing now. And, feels like it's been a while, but what's the latest?
I think the unfortunate thing is that business still has not fully bounced back, which makes sense because you think about both customers and business owners and workers all having been traumatized by these events. Naomi said in the article, there's a worry that if you go out, you might not go home again.
Yeah.
So even though it appears that the ice activity has slowed down a little bit, I actually interviewed Bill for the article as well. And he was like, they just kind of change their tactics and do things a little differently. So, I don't face it like all of the business owners were saying foot traffic has not really come back. The second ice raid or major ice raid happened in, January of this year. And it was right before Valentine's Day, which you think about the flower market and like these clothing stores, like people getting gifts and all these kinds of things that like really dipped the business for that too, which is like usually one of their busiest times of year. And yeah, Naomi was even saying like before they usually have a big crowd of people before Coachella because people come and like buy outfits and costumes and that kind of stuff. And she was like, even that this year was like super slow. So unfortunately, it just hasn't really come back.
Horrible year for Native American headgear.
I'm sorry?
No, that bad Coachella joke. Don't worry.
Horrible year for festival wear. No, even the few times that I went down as I was like researching the story and just kind of like spending time in the area, it was pretty dead. And I feel like
sad.
It's just kind of a shadow of what it used to be. So
I love that you covered this now because I feel like it was such a hot topic last summer because of obvious reasons. We were in the throes of the ice raids,
right?
But for the first time, but like I think people don't realize some people don't realize the extent to which they're still continuing, and the after effects will go on for a long time. So I do think it's incumbent on people who can to go out there for lunch or dinner. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
I know we sometimes put too much onus on consumers to do this. It's like what we say this all the time when restaurants close. Like, oh, if you loved it so much, why don't you fucking go for lunch? But with this one, it feels a little bit more like Naomi was saying in the piece. There was a day where she only did 2 sales. Like, it makes a difference if you take like 3 friends for lunch now. Like it makes a big difference for those people. So question, should we organize a Santee Alley food crawl?
That would be great. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
I would absolutely and it's just like, I think it's also thinking about, we haven't even seen COVID was 6 years ago, right? But like, think about the lasting effects of that over the past 6 years, whether it's with trauma, healthcare, like just everything. And like Queenie Reed, who I also spoke with for the piece, she and her husband own Poppy and Rose, which is right by the flower market. She was just like, look, trauma is trauma. And why would you expect somebody who's been traumatized to like go back to that area? So like, it's the longer lasting effects that I think people don't think about when these sort of big, horrible events occur.
Well said. Well, everybody go check out Karen's page because honestly, there's a couple stores we didn't even get to. There's one about a fast food chain here in California that is being accused of being a Ponzi scheme. I kind of want to make a narrative podcast about it. Like, excellent stuff.
I think you should. You should look into the Ferrari that the owner bought too. It's really something in the company name. By the way,
it's called Roll 'em Up Taquitos. Maybe the podcast could be called like Taquite whoa, or something like that.
Exactly.
Doing some workshopping, maybe?
Roll them up. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll think about it.
Lock them up, taquitos. Maybe.
Lock them up, taquitos.
Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. Are you down for a rapid round of Chef's Kiss Big Miss?
Let's do it.
Let's fucking go. Okay, Stephanie Brazier reports that several notable LA restaurants and food facilities, including Dantana's, Gîte Lada, San Vicente Bungalows, and the Peninsula Hotel, were temporarily closed after county health inspectors issued vermin-related citations. The Times found more than 120 vermin citations in LA County so far in 2026, with 67 in April alone, as broader pest control demand appears to be rising across the city. My question for you, Karen, with everything our restaurants have had to go through, from fires to ice raids to the Hollywood strikes, the vermin having the audacity to pile onto their troubles, Chef's Kiss or Big Miss?
I mean, obviously a big miss. Fuck these rats.
Fuck these rats.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unfortunate part of doing business in a city, right? Is having to deal with like pests and rodents, and as long as the restaurants are doing their due diligence and cleaning up the issue. But it's kind of, I don't think any of this is necessarily surprising. It's just unfortunate. Well,
it's funny because I think, again, when you were on one of your first times, we talked about Bay Cities being shut down for vermin. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that allegation has stuck. Like anytime I bring up Bay Cities or mention them in a video, there's always that commenter who's like, didn't they shut it down because of rats? And this is like, right, can have real lingering effects. What do you say to those people that are, freaked out by this?
I mean, again, it's also like, as long as the restaurant like handles the problem and is then cleared to go, I don't think it should be. I also come from having lived in New York, and like, rats are just kind of, unfortunately, part of everyday life. But like, it's, again, I think as long as the restaurant is like rectifying the situation pretty quickly. But it's unfortunate that this might have an impact on business down the road. Yeah, these places.
Yeah. All I'll say to our listeners: don't be afraid. This happens. They wrecked. Like I think Gîte Lada was closed for like 3 days or something because they got the citation. They quickly fixed whatever the issue was, and now they're like up and running. So you can still get your delicious Thai food. Okay, next one. The release of Ligaya Michon's 2026 New York Times 100 Best Restaurants in New York City list has sparked exactly the kind of debate a rank list is built for, with readers and restaurant obsessives praising some calls, questioning others, and demanding explanations for the biggest surprises. Feed Me's and /expense accounts Jay Lee's reaction captures that mood. He says approval of Kabawa at number 1, disbelief over Jean-Georges at number 5, and a central question echoing across the conversation: how did places like Le Veau d'Or, Franchette, Wild Cherry, The Grill, SMP, and Bridges get left off? The other main thing is with people really calling out for more transparency in the process, wondering how the hell did some of these calls get made? Karen, the discourse around Ligaya's list, is it a chef's kiss, exactly what they planned for, just going according to plan, or kind of a big miss, people misunderstanding the point of a list like this?
I mean, I think it's a chef's kiss. I think, like, we've talked about this before. Lists are so subjective. This is one person's list, right? Yeah. So, like, obviously she's going to have some opinions that are different from yours or different from mine. And I think they are put together, not discounting her expertise or opinions, but like they are meant to generate conversation and discourse. So like, it's kind of just doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. I think so too. This is exactly the right thing. I think people that get too hung up on this are, not people you want to be talking to at a dinner party. Really fun if you can have this conversation in like a fun way. And I think Jay Lee and folks like that are absolutely doing that. But one thing the New York Times has, which I'm not 100% sure if the LA Times has, is they have a really active comment section under the list. And Ligaya is in those comments, like responding to people. And it's a fun read because it's, people are talking about like, well, this is a great list if you're rich, or this is a great list if you don't like Filipino food or something like that. And she's in there like responding to people with those who have those concerns. So that actually makes for almost more fun reading than the list itself, in my opinion.
No, totally. Yeah. I'm gonna go mine the comments section.
Go. Great way to spend your Friday night. Okay.
Exactly.
Next one. Julia Moskin of the New York Times reports on a proposed New York ban on bromate, which is also a great name to call your friends. It's a dough improver used by an estimated 80 to 90% of commercial bakeries in the state, and it could force bagel shops and pizzerias to change recipes that rely on bromated flour for stretch, spring, consistency, and that classic New York chew. The article frames the debate as a fight between food safety and culinary identity, with old school operators warning of higher prices and changed products, while newer craft bakers argue the industry should move toward cleaner ingredients and better technique. Karen, I don't even really know what the chef's kiss or big miss here is. I guess, less affordable pizza that probably is less likely to give you cancer. Chef's kiss or big miss?
Oh, man. I mean, when you frame it that way, oh god.
Wait, are you seriously about to say life is short, eat the cancer pizza?
I guess it's like, I mean, there are so many additives in food now. Like, I kind of don't know on this one. I'm a little bit on the fence. Like, I do think it would cause a lot of problems for like, old school bakeries and pizzerias that have been using these recipes for like decades and decades. And who knows if their new product would even be as good as the old one, and it'll be more expensive. So I don't know.
On the fence.
Yeah, I'm really on the fence about this one, mainly just because it's like, I think, you could argue so many things are unhealthy, but
listen, we're all going to die at some point. No, I will say the time that this really perked my ears up was I was listening to Alex Kunz's Pie to Pie podcast, and he was talking to somebody, and he made a big deal to like kind of stop the interview to give his opinion on bromate and talk about how it's really bad and like pizzerias should not be using it. And I trust that man with my life when it comes to pizza. So, and I do think it's good if like pizzerias are forced to kind of like rethink things and try new things with their doughs. I think it could be a rising tide lifts all boats. I will like to see how Zoran Mamdani, the affordability mayor, weasels his way out of this one though. So watch the space.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. Watch the space.
Last one for you. Dine Latino Restaurant Week returns for its 5th year with more than 200 LA County restaurants representing 20 Latin American countries offering prefix menus, discounts, and special dishes from May 12th to 24th. The article frames the event as both a celebration of LA's vast Latino food culture and a needed boost for Latino-owned restaurants after a difficult year marked by ICE raids, curfews, staffing fears, and rising costs. Karen, Dine Latino Restaurant Week. I'm ending it with an easy one for you. Chef's kiss or big miss?
The biggest chef's kiss ever.
Yeah, I love it. Have you done any of these like Dine LA Restaurant Weeks in the past?
Not really. Like, I don't know. I used to go in New York, like, Dine. Yeah. Or like New York Restaurant Week or whatever it was. I haven't as much here, but I think they're a good idea in generating business and, just getting customers in the door with like some special deals and promotions and that kind of stuff, special menus.
Yeah, I used to do them religiously when I was like in college because it was a great opportunity to go try
like
some
entry
expensive
point.
restaurants.
Totally.
Yeah. And so to me, they feel a little bit stuck in time just because I associate them with that time of my life. But, everything comes back eventually. Maybe I'm going to start going to these restaurant weeks again, relive my 20s.
Exactly. You never know.
Yeah. Well, Karen, you got a shitty Yelp review for us today or no? Everybody's been good.
I don't.
It's okay.
Everybody's been fine.
Everybody's been fine. The only one I have real quick, and then I'll let you go, is we're leaving for our honeymoon in a couple. Actually, by the time you're listening to this, dear listener, we will be on a plane. But don't worry, you'll still be getting episodes in the next couple weeks because I love you. I love you guys. I really do. But my wife told me don't leave important stuff to the last minute. Things like updating your cell phone. If you want the best cell phone to
Right.
take pictures, don't leave it to the last minute. Of course, I left it to the last minute. And we spent probably 3 hours at the Burbank Spectrum yesterday,
Oh
just
my God.
stressed as
No.
fuck when we could be doing other things, all because I left it to the last minute. I think that's pretty shitty of me.
Do you at least have your passport in order?
Yes, passport's good.
Okay.
Passport's good. I think that's no. The only other thing I've left to the very last moment is going to the bank to get euros, but that should be
Mhm.
relatively easy. It's literally just 3 hours at the Spectrum store when we could have not done that. That's my shitty overview.
Yeah, the Spectrums. Nobody wants to spend like 20 minutes at the Spectrum store. No less 3 hours. So yeah, I get it.
No, although shout out Harut at the Burbank Spectrum store, absolute master of his craft. He gets 5 stars.
Love that.
I get 1 star. Karen, you've been absolutely fantastic. Thank you as always for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be We'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be back right after the break with none other than Rick Locks, or the man behind Rick Locks. Dear listener, I'm stoked. Today is pretty much a bucket list guest of mine since I started doing this podcast. It's a man that I know as Adam Alper, but you probably know him on Instagram as Rick Locks. Adam, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great. Wow, bucket list guest that's a big one. And as myself being a dear listener, it's on the pod.
It's awesome to have you, man. Yeah, no, I remember making a list of dream guests probably a couple years ago, and I remember thinking about it in categories. So I had chefs, I had like TV personalities, I of course had influencers, and you were right at the top of that influencer list. Bucket list indeed. Adam, you're a listener, so you know that we start all these interviews with an icebreaker question. My icebreaker question for this: 3 restaurants: Shibuya, which you're actually wearing the Shibuya hat, In-N-Out, Budenoki. You can only keep one. Which one do you keep?
Okay, so this one might come as a little bit of a shocker. So I love Budenoki, great restaurant. The food is amazing. Love the people that work there. That's the first one of the 3 to go, sadly, but I love them. Shibuya is my favorite restaurant of all time, and I'm sure we'll probably get into that at some point. However, if there was only one thing that I could eat always, it would be In-N-Out, because it is something that even in the morning time, like at 10 a.m., I crave an In-N-Out burger. Sushi, you can't always eat 9 a.m., 10 a.m. It's definitely like a more of a lunchtime or dinner time food. So although it is my number one, I'm keeping In-N-Out just because of its versatility for me from a breakfast, lunch, dinner perspective.
That is actually very solid reasoning, because if you can only keep one. Have you actually had In-N-Out for breakfast?
Many, many times.
What's the order for breakfast? Does it change at all?
No, I think it would depend on what I'm eating later in the day, what my lunch and dinner schedule is. But my go-to In-N-Out order in general is a 3x3 with grilled onions, no tomato. Depending on the day from the fry perspective, it's either fries with 3 extra spreads for dipping or just going for the animal style fry.
Extra spreads for dipping is the kind of genius hack I feel you only get if you were like born and raised here. Like, I didn't even know you were allowed to get extra spread on the side.
What? You don't know about the extra spread packets?
No, I genuinely didn't. No.
Man, they used to put the spread in like a little plastic container. Now it's kind of in those like larger size, like Heinz ketchup, like rippy packs that you kind of, spread on it. But yeah, that's mandatory, not only for the fries, but even for more dipping of the burger into the spreads too.
No, that makes a ton of sense. In fact, there have been, when I ate 100 burgers last year, there were some epic burgers that served sauce on the side for dipping. And I was like, why doesn't everybody do that? It's fucking genius.
I mean, the more sauce, the merrier, always.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Well, I've already alluded to it, but you did grow up in Los Angeles. What were your favorite restaurants growing up? Like, what were the spots like after, I don't know, basketball or school? You were like, I'm going there. Birthday, going there.
Yes, so I am a born and raised Angelino. I grew up in Calabasas. I'm a pre-Kardashian Calabasian. Just for everyone who said, you gravitated there when it became popular. My parents moved out there in 1989, so that's where I was born and raised. As far as favorite restaurants growing up, so Calabasas, it's starting to become a little bit more progressive as a food city. We have some notable places starting to open up out there. Calabasas didn't have the best selection of restaurants. So, I kind of think about more so when we were doing family get-togethers, like a birthday or a holiday or something like that. And, we were kind of going to like the generic steakhouses like a Ruth's Chris or a Mastro's. And 20 years ago or however long ago that was, those kind of felt like some of the better restaurants you can go to. Of course, Shibuya is my all-time favorite restaurant. One, obviously, I think the food is incredible, but also it's a very nostalgic place for me. In living in Calabasas, I would probably go there 2 to 3 times a week for over 10 years. So it's literally coursing through my veins at this point. So that kind of instills the love of it for me. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of like those more so generic steakhouses and, nothing super exciting when I was very young.
So what inspired this love for food? Because, I don't know, like guy from Calabasas growing up going to Ruth's Chris. It doesn't sound like a natural progression of, oh yeah, I had to go and be this like big time food influencer. What was the spark for you? Or were you just always at these restaurants being like, you know what? I think I like this a little bit more than everybody else does.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of my first memories of like really appreciating food was when I was in high school. And although it's bringing back Ruth's Chris, my buddies and I weekly would get together to play poker at one of the houses. And I remember essentially whoever would win in poker that day, we'd all just say, screw it, let's take the money and let's go get steaks at Ruth's Chris. A very bougie thing to do for 16-year-olds at the time, and probably not the best way to spend money, but we did it. And I think that's, started to lay the foundation. I would say kind of when I more so got into college, that's when, having some of your own money and being able to go out on your own, I think that's where my love for food really developed, especially with traveling too. Food since then has become one of my vices, and that's what I like to spend my money on. So traveling and being in other places and being able to experience the best of the best in each of those different cities, states, countries, etc. I think that's when it really started to blossom.
Did you become the guy in your friend group who was like the go-to guy for restaurant recs or like scoping the restaurants on the boys trip? Like, did that just become your role?
100%. So that's kind of how Rick Locks was born. So, I have my backing up how you introduced me. I don't know if everybody knows this, and I guess there's really no way to know this unless you just did a quick Google search, but Rick Locks is not my actual name.
I think you're actually going to be surprising a lot of listeners when you say that.
Yes, I think so too. And again, it's not something I try to hide whatsoever. I don't like promote that my name is Adam, but a very quick Rick Locks Google search, it comes up. But, on my personal account on social media, I started posting food content, not like super aggressively, just pictures, videos here and there. And I had a lot of friends, acquaintances, etc. say like, man, like we really love the like food content you post. You go to such great places. Some of the places you post I had never seen before. Like you should really like do food blogging. And then, after hearing that a lot, I kind of decided that I wanted to maybe pursue it a little bit more. One, it was a passion of mine, and I was like, screw it, why not? Like, let's put some of this content out there for other people. And I wanted it to live on a platform outside of my, Adam Instagram social channels. I wanted it to like live and be its own thing. So Rick Locks was a nickname that I made up literally like 20 plus years ago, way before the food stuff even came into the picture. It is a play on the basketball player / actor Rick Fox.
Yep. I love that you said / actor. An important part of his career, to be fair.
I'm not trying to sell him short as just a basketball player, Well, I think now I saw a video of him pop up actually the other day. I think he's running for some kind of political position somewhere. I don't know where it was, but
what?
I saw him getting in a fight with somebody at some event. That's
it's amazing.
So, and Rick Locks, Rick Locks came from Rick Fox because I am a lover of smoked salmon and lox. And I was like, hey, this flows well together. And I made the nickname up with a couple others. There was a pastrami Hilfiger, like Tommy Hilfiger. That was one that was
pretty good.
a throwaway nickname. But when social media came to be, when the internet was a thing, I just secured the website and the handle and everything associated with Rick Locks. And when I decided to start doing food content and having it live on its own, I said, hey, why not? Let's just like use this moniker for everything I do in the food space. So
Makes sense.
Originally, if you scroll down to the bottom of my Instagram, I think the first like 5 to 10 reviews I did were all smoked salmon and lox. And at some point I was like, this is a little limiting. I'm definitely eating way more things than that. So obviously it blossomed to what it is today. But
I saw the other post from your personal account in which you announced that you were launching Rick Locks, and I saw in the caption that it said, I'm going to be reviewing smoked salmon. That's kind of like the thing you launched with. And I'm like, man, I wonder how quickly he ran out of smoked salmon reviews. And it turns out about 5 reviews in.
Bro, after like 5 to 10, I was like, I'm eating other stuff when I'm going out in addition to smoked salmon, but I'm like purposely ordering smoked salmon at every meal when maybe I didn't want it to. So I'm like, all right, there will of course be some smoked salmon throughout everything, but I got to utilize this to showcase everything I'm eating.
Hilarious. Now, in your so you're really well known for your format. Like, I think that's one of the best things too about your page is like, when you get served a Rick Locks video, that it's a Rick Locks video. Like, they all have the same feel. You obviously have the iconic voiceover, which I parodied for an April Fool's post a couple years ago.
It was great.
You took it in a tremendous spirit. Yeah. So I really appreciated that. Great sport about it. And you just know when you're watching a Rick Locks video, did you start off with that format, or is it something you eventually found and you're like, this works?
Yeah, it's definitely something that came to be over time. So when I really started taking the food content seriously was during the pandemic time. Prior to that, I did post content, but it might be a still photo and it might be one picture, once a month, not really the video content and like voiceover format that I do today. But once the pandemic hit and then TikTok was really like blowing up and becoming a thing, I remember scrolling TikTok the first time and I saw a couple people doing food reviews and I was like, I could do this way better than they're doing it. And, they were kind of like voiceover style reviews. So, I think it goes back to a Korean barbecue spot like that was doing a pop-up during the pandemic where I filmed it and did the voiceover for the first time. If you go back and listen to some of my earlier content, like the way I talk is so different than it is now. Honestly, like I still cringe even when I hear my own voice doing my current reviews, but even some of the ones that I did like 3-4 years ago, it's like literal nails on a chalkboard. Like I can't listen to it.
Bro, it's so bad. I feel you on that. If I watch some of my videos from when I started, like 2022 or something like that,
yeah,
I'm like, I hate this guy. This guy sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like when I first started, I would talk really, really, really fast to try and get in as much as I could as quick as possible.
Makes sense.
And I kind of adopted a slower style where, all of the sentences didn't end and it was kind of like, and then I went to do this, and then I did this, and like I hear those videos now, I'm like, oh my god, it's so painful. I feel like now, like for maybe the past like year plus, I've kind of found like a good level of tone of voice, how fast I talk, structure of the video. Where usually the first clip is kind of like the hook, or is this the best seafood in Los Angeles, or the hook to try to get people in. Maybe a 10-second preview of what the restaurant is, what type of cuisine, when it opened, where you can find it, then go into the review. And then kind of the back end of the video is like my overall thoughts on everything. So I feel like I kind of hit that stride maybe a year plus ago. I feel like now I'm trying to incorporate myself in the videos a little bit more. I think for a while, I didn't showcase my face or anything in it. And, I was in them occasionally, but now I'm trying to put this face out there a little bit more. So yeah, I mean, I think, with content, it's ever changing, ever evolving. Obviously, you're not going to please every single person with the way you do the content, but I'm just doing what I enjoy and what I feel resonates with the people. So yeah, and I'm sure in a year's time, it might look a little different than it is now.
It's the beauty of it. But the thing is, like, even though your content evolves, it always has the same like heart to it and the same spirit to it. Like, yeah, you're talking about things that sound seismic in the world of like content creation, because I understand like changing your tone of voice, changing your cadence, even changing like putting yourself more in the videos, like that's a big decision for a content creator. But ultimately, like the audience, I think, is still feeling like they're getting the same value from your product. So it's cool that people can always expect that. And I think that what people always really expect from your reviews is, of course, the ratings. And we need to talk about the rating system. How did you devise this rating system? How scientific is it? How vibes coded is it? Like, where did it come from? And like, how did it start? And how are you getting it today?
Yeah, so I think when I first started, and I honestly am not 100% sure, but when I first started doing the TikTok reviews and doing the voiceovers, I don't think I had like a locks level at the end.
Mm.
And I really don't know how far into it I started incorporating it, but I feel like one thing to draw people in and have them watch the entire video is to see, what you rate something. And of course, over time, establishing a rapport with your followers and, they trust your opinions because they've gone out and seek the restaurants that you talk about and say either positive or negative things about. They trust you and they want to see what you're going to rate something. The name just came about because I was trying to find a word that started with L, so I could
alliteration.
So a little alliteration. So that's how Locks Level came about. It's so funny how that's become like a sticking thing for a lot of people. Like I'll be walking in the street and someone passes by me and they're just like, Locks Level, what up? Locks Level.
Yeah,
right? So, like,
it's your tag.
Yeah. So it's cool that it's become a little bit of a something. As far as what goes into the rating system, so I kind of take 5 factors into account. So taste, quality, price, service, and ambiance. Now, obviously, everything that I'm reviewing might not incorporate all 5 of those things because you might be going to a pop-up that doesn't have service, or there's exceptions to the rule here and there. I would definitely say that like taste and quality have more of an influence than the other aspects. And it is not an exact science where I equate, a numeric system or something to each of the 5 factors and then divide by 5. And that's what you get. It's kind of more of just a feel situation, taking all of those things into account. Obviously, when it comes to my scale, if people have been following me for a while, they know most of my reviews will probably live in between like a 6 to a 9, probably. There are a few outliers on both ends of the spectrum. I like to be a very tough critic when it comes to high reviews, and I like to be a little bit more lenient when it comes to low reviews.
Makes sense.
And that said, I'm also going to restaurants that are usually known to be somewhat reputable or good, or a lot of people like them. So that's also why you're kind of getting things in that like 6 to 9 spectrum as well. Obviously, I was like, if I were, seeking out just hole in the walls that I'm just like picking out of a bucket, I'm probably going to find some less than 6s here and there. But yeah, that's kind of what goes into factoring everything in and why things live within that level.
Yeah, I've gotten like, I get that question too sometimes, like, why are all your scores so high? And it's the exact same thing. It's like, I want to eat good food, and that's why I go out. So I'm not purposefully going out to a place that I know will have bad food. Exactly. In fact, I don't know how you feel, but how does it feel when you do have to leave one of those like slightly lower ratings / what's the lowest one you've ever left?
Okay. So my number one priority is like giving my true and honest opinion to my followers. Like that takes precedent over everything. Do I like giving negative reviews to restaurants? Like, no, it's not my favorite thing to do. Like, I know how hard it is to run a restaurant. Some people put their blood, sweat, and tears into getting restaurants open. They invest every dollar possible into it. But I think as, a paying customer, it's fair to give your opinion on what you feel about the restaurant. And, there are some times when I'm writing a negative review or one that's not super positive, and I even get like a little bit of anxiety about it. And especially when I post it and then start to see comments of, a neighborhood restaurant that a lot of people love that I in particular just didn't think was that great. And, seeing their love for it and, kind of arguing with me in the comments about it, like it does stir up inside of me a little bit. But as I said, like I always want to be real and honest and transparent with my followers. And I think like I've built that, reputation with them over time where I'm going to give them the true and honest review. A lot of people are paying, their hard-earned money to go out to dine these days. And I think I owe it to them to share how I truly feel about it. Going back to my lowest review. Okay, so in going back and thinking about it, so there was a Peruvian Japanese fusion restaurant that opened in West Hollywood. This was probably now maybe 4 years ago.
I remember it. Do you mind if I say it? It's closed now, right?
It's close, so go for it.
Rosaline, right?
No.
Whoa.
No. It's actually literally around the corner from there, but it's not. I've actually never been to Rosalie.
Okay, interesting. Okay, then I don't even know it, so we don't need to name it.
Fun fact, Rosalie, and maybe we'll get into this a little bit later on, but for my company, we tried to, for a client of ours, we wanted to put on an event that was Peruvian themed, and we thought of Rosalie about hosting the event there. And one of the requirements of our client was to be able to have a llama at the event. And I remember calling Rosalie and asking them if I could bring a llama into their restaurant for the event. And it was a hard no.
Yeah, they were like, that's actually kind of racist.
Hard no on the llama. I don't know if it was a race thing, maybe more a health inspector.
Yeah, FDA. Yeah.
Okay, anyway. So the name of the restaurant, it was called Onizuka. And it was on La Cienega and Melrose, roughly, like kind of diagonal from like EPLP, but very close to Rosalie. It's gone, so I'll just bluntly say it. It was so bad. Every aspect of it. The service. Our server came to our table 4 different times with the wrong dish and had to keep coming over and asking us what we ordered. The vibe inside the restaurant was very like kind of clubstaurant vibe. It felt like you were in a jungle. The food was just not good at all. And I think I had the single worst item I've ever had in my life. It was a black sesame panna cotta for dessert, and it literally tasted like cement. Like,
wow.
It was.
I think I remember this one, actually. I think I distinctly remember this review because of the cement comp.
Yeah. So I believe I gave the restaurant overall, I think like a 3. And I said that the black sesame panna cotta was a 1.8. So together, those are definitely my, I think, worst ever. And then the owner of the restaurant kind of got into it with me on social media and was calling me out and telling me I'm a nobody. And I said, I'm not claiming I'm anyone. I just, shared my, honest opinion about it. And then, a couple of days later, he's like, can you come back and post about us again? And I mean, after the things he said to me, I politely declined.
Yeah. Does that happen to you pretty often? Like restaurateurs reaching out to you, good or bad, after you've done a review?
Way more on the positive side than the negative. I mean, I think I probably post way more positive than negative reviews. I would say on the negative side, it's honestly pretty rare. And I think a lot of restaurants have really great responses to when I post something not so positive. There's a few of them out there that, over the years have responded and, said actually really nice things to me and just like had the perfect PR response at how they should respond to someone who came in and didn't have a great experience. But I would say probably 20-fold the amount of positive interactions I've had from people who are very happy about the things that I've said and, the response from the community coming out and supporting their restaurants. So, I mean, that obviously makes me very happy and is one of the definite bonuses and, positive things that I get to do in doing what I do.
For sure. I feel the same way whenever I've been able to feel like you've actually helped a restaurant. And I say that to you because I just remember I was speaking with a restaurateur and sorry, I got the frog in my throat from being sick.
I got it. Don't worry.
Yeah. I was talking to a restaurateur and I just got into the conversation of like what makes a business impact for them, like whether it's PR, whether it's direct marketing on their part via social media, whether it's influencers. And unsolicited, that restaurateur said, we actually saw a huge uptick when Rick Locks came in. So like, I think that that's something people underestimate when they watch your reviews and are like maybe questioning like, who is this guy? Why does he have like an opinion? Like when you leave a good review, which by the way, you do way more often than you do negative reviews, you're actually helping a lot of businesses, which is really cool.
Yeah, no, I mean like that's the biggest joy I get in doing what I do. And again, I know there's like a negative side to it where it could negatively impact somebody in some sort of way. And I get that, but the positive aspect of it, I feel, happens 20 times over than the negative. And it's so awesome to hear, from both sides. One, the restaurant owners, reaching out to me and said, like, you had such a positive impact on us, and that's amazing. And then also from my followers reaching out and being like, hey, I saw the review that you just did on XY. I went there, it was the best meal of my life. My wife, husband, mother-in-law, whoever it was, said this was the best meal they've had. Like, thank you so much for doing that. Right. So both ends of the spectrum is awesome.
Yeah. So obviously, we've talked about it, but you've gained garnered a lot of success over the last several years since you started this. Social media is a tough game to play, and a lot of people post all the time and never see any traction. Was there a review that really exploded for you for the first time where you were like, holy shit, I'm reaching a new level of reach here?
I don't know if it's one singular review that I can like pinpoint and was like, this was the game changer. Obviously, I started to get my most traction on TikTok of all my platforms. It was in the earlier days of TikTok, not as much competition on there. I feel like I was maybe one of the first LA people to be doing reviews on TikTok. I definitely remember when I did on Ospi, which is the Italian restaurant in Venice, which, did really well and had a few 100,000 views. Like, I had a good, maybe 6-month run where every video was hitting over 100,000. A bunch of them were hitting hundreds of thousands, and then you'd get those million ones here, right? Like, there's certain reviews that I do that I know are going to pop off just like based on, the content that I filmed there. Like, obviously I went to Salt Bay's restaurant in Beverly Hills when it first opened, not because I was so interested in the food, but I wanted to see the spectacle. And if he was there and he came over to the table, he did his whole salt sprinkle running down his hairy arms into our steak. And like, that wasn't a great meal per se, but I just knew the content was going to pop off, and, stuff that at the time people definitely wanted to see. So I don't think it was one certain video that just like took things to the next level. It was just like kind of over a steady period of time where I was just getting followers and followers and followers. And I think I was doing TikTok for a pretty significant amount of time before I started posting Instagram Reels. I would say, although I have less followers now on Instagram than TikTok, like, Instagram is my quote unquote best platform right now where I'm just seeing the most traction. I also post on Snapchat, and I feel like a lot of people in the game aren't really on Snapchat. No. I have a following of over 200,000 people there where I post daily too. And Snapchat is an amazing platform as well. But yeah, I just think on all of these platforms, it was kind of just like a gradual build, and it became something that I didn't really think it was going to be. I of course did it because of a passion and my love for food. And just like, over time, it kind of picked up and has just like become part of my life now.
I got to get on Snapchat, it sounds like. But yeah, I mean, look, I didn't even know people did food reviews on there actually until I saw you got awarded for or nominated or rewarded for best food content creator on Snapchat this year.
I did. I unfortunately did not take home the trophy, but I was nominated, which was awesome.
You got robbed. There's always next year.
Always next.
Well, with all of this following, I mean, I experienced it on a much smaller level than you do, but it comes with some haters. There's people that, have the choice and the ability to not follow you, to just fuck off and follow somebody else, but they choose to continue following you and just inundate you with negative comments. Maybe they talk behind your back on a podcast. Maybe they even go to your favorite restaurant on a podcast just to shit on it. How do you deal with the haters?
You're not talking about anyone specific there, right?
I'm just coming up with a random example. Yeah.
Just an example. Listen, when you put yourself out on the internet or any platform that has lots of people listening, watching, etc., haters are inevitable. They come in all shapes, sizes, forms, level of disrespect. I've had some of the most horrible messages written to me from people that are so vulgar, I don't even know if I could say them on this medium, right?
You've listened to this podcast, you can say them here, but I'm not going to make you do it.
Yeah, I mean, just like people saying they want to kill my family members. Jeez. And it's not even because I, maybe insulted a friend of theirs. It's just like they hate my face. I don't know. Maybe I got a punchable face. But
there's a difference between having a punchable face and a kill my family-able face. That's not a face people have.
Saying things about my son and just horrible things. And again, like, I'm not the type that wants to battle somebody. Usually, especially when it's like those really, really bad ones usually come in the form of like a DM and it's not public facing. But when people have, hate comments that, they leave that anyone can see, my usual plan of attack is to kill them with kindness and just like a response that, when someone is saying these things about you, they want to warrant a response. They want you to like fight back. They want to be able to say, hey, I got under this person's skin. They're responding to me. If someone says, oh, I hate your reviews. Your voice is so annoying. You have the most punchable face. Like, stop doing this. I'll respond like, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Right? Like stuff like that. Little things that, I guess they get the acknowledgement that I've seen what they've said to me, but like, I don't give them the satisfaction of knowing that they like got under my skin. And to be honest, these things don't get under my skin. Like when the negative comments in like that type of way.
No, it's good to know. I mean, that's like lesson number one. I feel like you got to learn how to just roll with the punches. And it's clear you do. You know what I do when I try to kill with kindness? I also add a little like kissy face at the end, especially if it's like a burly dude with like a MAGA face, with like a MAGA thing in their profile.
I do a kissy face or a heart or the happy face with the hug. Any of those ones that, might even get them more upset in the like kindness gesture. Yeah, that's definitely in the repertoire.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, well, I really admire that, man. It's tough. I've also taken the other tact and gotten in the content in the comments and said nasty shit back, and it feels fucking amazing for like 1 second, and then it feels horrible immediately after. Like you're like, my God, why did I say that to that person? That's like, I'm not that guy. Turns out sometimes I am that guy, but it takes a lot more to just let it wash off your back.
100%. Like, listen, sometimes you gotta throw one out there just to like, shrug your shoulders and be like, yeah, I felt good about saying that. Like,
yeah,
fuck you, guy, right? Like sometimes you just like gotta do it. I hear you. However, in that situation, I feel it's more about you. What I want to do is make the person who's saying these things feel more upset that they've either said it or just have not gotten the satisfaction of like getting under my skin. So even if you like don't respond to it and they've left that comment, they're like, damn, I thought he was going to really respond to this. Like making sure that they don't get the satisfaction out of it, to me, is the biggest win in the situation.
Huge. So you mentioned that like now Instagram is your primary platform. And I'm guessing that's also because I've seen this happen with my content, but TikTok has been really on and off for the last year or two. People are wondering like, is it possible to still make a living as a content creator? And is that what you do full time?
So TikTok has been horrible compared to what it used to be for me. Like, as I said early on, every video over 100,000 views, no matter what type of content it was. Now, when I get over 10,000 views on a video, that's successful to me.
For sure.
It is very rare that I hit over 100K on a video now. And listen, I know it's probably a combination of a lot of different things. More people on the platform, people can only view so many videos in any given amount of time. I'm sure the algorithm has changed multiple times over. I feel like, over time, my content has gotten even better than it was at the start. So, from a content perspective, I don't think I'm like not meeting the needs of people. I feel like more so maybe it's just not reaching as many people as it used to. So yeah, it's a bit frustrating. And, listen, I think obviously people who are starting now, I've seen some like gain huge followings really quickly, and some of the like quote unquote OGs on TikTok, like growth, forget the views on videos too, the growth. I haven't grown followers in however long, it's been really frustrating. I'm just starting to post more too on YouTube shorts and try to build up my YouTube a little bit. So
yeah,
if anyone who's listening is a YouTube viewer as opposed to the other platforms, you'll start to see my content on there very regularly. Going back to your question about, can social media be a full-time job? Yeah, of course, I think it still can be for people who, started in this a while back, who are just getting started. If you're going into social media with the mindset that like, once I drop everything and just start this, like it's 100% going to work and I'm going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, and then be able to do all these really great things because of it. It doesn't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think with how many people are getting into social media now, you really got to find a niche that hasn't been exploited yet and figure out how to really carve a lane for yourself and do something that's different than other people. Granted, maybe you replicate something you've seen and it ends up working for you. Great, that's awesome. Maybe you just tweak a little something that's different than what you saw as working for someone else. It's possible, but it's definitely a tough game right now, especially if you're getting into it right now and just thinking, things are going to pop overnight. When I first started posting like my content, it was years before I was doing the style of video I do now. So obviously it was like a slow build and it takes time, and I'm lucky in that, it's not my main source of income, and I have something else, that provides for me. So I'm lucky in that sense, but it's a tough game out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And increasingly so. To your point, just a lot of people who want to be in this space. And I feel like, yeah, you want to find your niche and you want to find your own way of doing it. There's always a new way of doing it. There's always a new niche, but like it feels like a lot of the shit has been done now.
Yeah. I mean, with food content creation, it's tough to say there's only so much you can do, but maybe there's only so much you can do, right? There's like the restaurant reviewers, there's the, social media chefs out there. I feel like there's a lot of lanes and niches that have been picked and people are exploiting them and doing their thing within them now. So, what that could be, you really might have to rack your brain as to like what you're doing different than somebody else who's already started. But if you can find that, you definitely have the opportunity to make it happen.
Yeah. 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 Well, I don't know does this happen to you because you post so many videos and a lot of people have been following you for a very long time? Do they feel like they've built some sort of a parasocial relationship with you? Do you get that? Do you have like friends, like quote unquote friends who have been following you for a long time that you've never met in person, but you just recognize that handle and that's your homie now?
100%. And there are so many people that like I have like a social media relationship with who I've never met, never spoken to over the phone, just like either it's DM conversations or, comment on my stuff all the time. There's, a handful of, or more than a handful, but a good amount of people who, always say really great positive things. Then on the flip side too, I know we were talking about haters. I have like a small select few who any comment they've ever left ever has been negative. And, it is what it is. Some people hate follow. I get it. But then, like I run into people in the street all the time who, come up to me and say hi and almost act as if we're friends, even if we haven't had like, even if we aren't like on that deeper relationship, DMing, commenting situation. But I feel like food is like the ultimate connector of people, right? There's different niches you could have on social media, fashion content, travel, lifestyle, whatever it is, like everybody eats food. Everybody likes to eat at great places. So, I feel like when you meet someone in person who has that shared love of food, the connection is just like already from the get-go is super deep. So yeah, I have people that come up to me all the time in person and, the conversation just starts immediately, like, hey,
Sure.
Rick, went to Shibuya yesterday. It was great. I got the spicy tuna on rice cakes, but the Shibuya roll, not as great as I thought it was going to be. Right. And like people just dive straight into conversations with me and I love it. At the end of the day, there is no correct answer in what we're doing. Right. Shibuya is not necessarily the best restaurant in the world. An In-N-Out 3x3 is not a Locks level 9.3 solidified guaranteed. Right. You may not like something that I don't like. For example, my buddy Kev, who is another one of the main big players in this food game, him and I went to Somni together, 3 Michelin star restaurant, regarded as LA's probably most prestigious restaurant currently. We went together. We had the exact same meal. We sat next to each other. Like, I thought it was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. I gave it a 9 out of 10, which for me is a very high score. I believe when he posted it, he gave it a 7.2 out of 10. There's no right or wrong answer there, right? Like he has his opinion on it. I have my opinion on it. And like the discourse of your opinion versus my opinion versus everyone's opinion, that's what makes all of this so fun. Like everything being so subjective to the individual, That's what makes the conversations happen. That's what fuels the comments section. That's what fuels the passion and the love and sometimes the hate. And, it's the beauty in what we do.
Yeah. Although I will say my opinion is always right. And I think you'd agree with that. Just kidding.
100%.
Well, hey, let's talk a little bit about the restaurants you're enjoying right now, just to end things on a delicious note. Jesus. What's caught your eye recently that you've been to that you're like, wow, this place really popping off in a way that maybe I didn't expect?
Okay. I mean, there are so many great restaurants in Los Angeles. I mean, we could talk about places I like for weeks. A place that's really been standing out to me, and it's actually been for over a year now, is in Santa Monica called Muse. It's kind of like a French-Italian hybrid. The chef there, Fardad, he's the chef and owner. One of the sweetest, most hospitable, coolest restaurant person I know.
Isn't he like 14 years old?
I believe he's 25, 26, 27. He has a very cool, backstory of how he created this little supper club in his apartment at USC. By the way, I know you're a Trojan. Fight on. Trojan here. And shout out to our other fellow Trojan, Fardad. He started this supper club concept, which blew up, was selling out instantly. And then as soon as he graduated, he got his own restaurant and was the chef owner. And he's got some partners. And just like that whole story in itself is amazing. But what he's doing just from a hospitality standpoint is phenomenal. The space is absolutely beautiful. It's like kind of blushy pink. It feels like this little jewel box inside. And the food is spectacular. He's crushing it with the food. The attention to detail, the ingredients, everything is spectacular. And if you've seen any of my reviews from it, I think they have the best dessert lineup in all of Los Angeles. His brother is the pastry chef. They have an amazing, they just come out like beautiful French pastries in dessert form, right? Mm-hmm. So everything from an amazing vanilla Saint Honoré to chocolate tart, strawberry tart. They have a tableside tiramisu, which is unbelievable. It's pricey, but I think the service, the food, every aspect of it warrants the price. It's definitely a great restaurant for a night on the town.
Lux level?
Lux level 9.0.
Wow.
We had a 9 last time we were there. And honestly, every time I go there, I keep rating it higher and higher. So we could be in the very, very illustrious 9+ range by next visit.
I was going to say 8 more times and it's flirting with Shibuya.
That will be the day. I mean, again, I just mentioned Somni. I was there a few months back. I thought it was an unbelievable meal. Usually, I think when it comes to the 2- and 3-star restaurants, like usually they always crush it when it comes to presentation, service, like creating this special atmosphere. And a lot of times I feel like they fall short on just the pure taste of the food, right? Like I think a lot of there are so many restaurants that I would rather go to that are cheaper, that I feel taste better. And I thought Somni just crushed it, even just from the food perspective. I know you.
That is always the most pleasant surprise when you go to a restaurant like that and you're like, wait, this food actually tastes good. Nothing more disheartening than when before you even sit down, you're going to leave with $1,000 less in your bank account and the things that are hitting your table are not even delicious. Like that is one of the most gut-punching experiences. So good to know about Somni. Saul and I will have to go.
Yeah, I know. I've heard you guys mention that you also want to make it a Restaurant Key.
We do. That's high on my list.
That was a special meal. I went there, a few months back. I thought just everything there was so, so good. Like just the execution, the taste of the food, it blew me away. What else am I... This is actually, it's funny, and I'm sure you probably fall into this trap as well, as people who go out to eat as much as we do. When someone comes up to you just randomly and says what's your favorite restaurant in LA? Or what have you liked recently? It's so hard for me to just pull something out of my head so quick because there's so much to eat and there's so many facets to it, right? Are you talking about the best fine dining sit down meal I've had? Are you talking about the best casual burger I just had? Are you talking about lunch, dinner? Do you want to be in Malibu? Do you want to be in downtown? There's so many nuances to that question. So when someone will ask me, what's the best thing you had recently? it really takes me a minute to like dive into the memory bank. And sometimes I even just got to go into my phone and scroll and be like,
For sure.
That's what I had recently. That was incredible.
The photo gallery is key for answering that question. Last question I have for you, Adam. You've been so generous with your time. Super interesting conversation. As I said, I've been waiting for this one and it has delivered. We usually ask people what 3 restaurants are they loving in LA right now, but you basically just gave us a variation on that. So I want to know this from you. What 3 LA restaurants, and I think I might know a couple of the answers, can you not live without?
Okay. I'm going to go 4. I'm going to go
Love
4.
it. Overachiever.
First and foremost, what I'm representing today on my hat, Shibuya. If you guys don't follow me or don't know my love for this restaurant, it is a very hole-in-the-wall, one-off, actually soon to be 2-off sushi restaurant in Calabasas. They're opening their second location in the upcoming months, also in Calabasas. But it is kind of like a mid-level, hole-in-the-wall, community-loved sushi restaurant. You know, you can get your sashimis, your nigiri, hand rolls. I've been going there. I think it was the first bite of sushi I ever had when I was about 10 years old. I believe it was the first one I had. And since then, I've been hooked. I love it. Not only do I think the food is amazing, but you know, the biggest thing for me is the nostalgia aspect to it, right? Like I will understand if other people don't think it's the best restaurant they've ever been to. I get it, 100%. But to me, it's my number one because I do think the food is actually incredibly good, but you know, it holds that place in my heart. Okay. We put that aside because that's like my biased answer. Also too, I think when I do my top 10 or my top reviews of 2026, I think Shibuya is going into the Hall of Fame and we're just going to knock it off because it's inevitably my number one my best meal of the year. And we're going to let some other people shine now. Okay.
I love that. Hall of Fames are good when it's for that reason.
Exactly. We might throw the In-N-Out in there too, because every time I put In-N-Out as the best burger, people lose their mind. It's like, but that's great for content. And, you know, the comment section on that one is always a fun one, right? You got people on both sides of the spectrum, love it or maybe not love it, but all right. Second, which I think is objectively could be the best restaurant in LA outside of Shibuya. And you've probably had many people say this before, Dunsmore. I think Dunsmore is phenomenal. I've only been twice and it's my second favorite restaurant in LA. That's huge. 2 meals there. Everything from the cornbread to the ribeye to the pork chop to their desserts to, you know, the sleeper item that everyone might not think of when they first go there, the pork and chili stew.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable, served with the warm tortillas on the side. I just think every item I've had there is spectacular and it just delivers. Like it's incredible. And
have you gotten it with a side of the mashed potatoes, the stew?
I have not. Is
Bro,
that the move?
That is, I don't know. It's 100% the move. I have also done that. Yes. I've done tortilla, potato, stew over like some potato taquito pork chili stew thing. Their mashed potatoes alone could be my favorite mashed potatoes in the city. So pairing them next to that dish, unreal.
Nah, Brian, he's just absolutely crushing it. And that's one of those restaurants too that I feel consensus. Like I've never heard anyone say anything less than it isn't a great restaurant. You don't hear it's all right or no, I'm not a fan. I think like across the board, everybody loves it. Obviously, LA Times, I think ranked it number 4 this year in the city. So even the bigwigs have very high thoughts about it. And I just think it's incredible.
Great shout.
Next, I'm a big Hillstone guy. I love the whole Hillstone portfolio. Ding's Crispy Chicken Sandwich is one of my favorite sandwiches ever. It's my favorite chicken sandwich. But of all of the portfolio, Honor Bar. Honor Bar to me, I know the menu is a little bit more condensed than even their neighbor next door, South Beverly Grill or actual Hillstone or Houston's. I know it's a little bit smaller refined menu, but I just love the vibe of Honor Bar. Every time I go there, I have an amazing meal. Chicken sandwich, burger, fries, kale salad, Osaka style, sushi roll. Like to me, that is just like a warm, comforting meal. You know, you get at Dunsmore, you're probably going to have a $500 meal if you're hitting all the classics. I feel like at Honor Bar, you get out of there for like $150. And granted, I know that's not like small chump change, but you will leave there like so full, so satisfied, and just be incredibly happy with your meal there.
And great service, as everybody says. I love that you said that, because this is actually a Karen episode, not a Father Saul episode, and she is Hillstone fanatic. So she's going to love that answer.
Love that. Okay. And then my final one, and this is specifically for breakfast brunch. I'm a big Republique guy.
Classic.
I've been there probably 40 times for breakfast / brunch, but I've never once been there for dinner, which is
wild,
pretty crazy for how much I love the restaurant. And I definitely will need to, I'm 100% going to go there for dinner this year, but I think their French toast is the best French toast of all time. I think it's one of my probably top 5 favorite items in general of any restaurant. Obviously, their pastry selection when you first get there is absolutely ridiculous. You know, the Manskys win James Beard Awards for their pastries. But the French toast, the potato pancake with the egg and smoked salmon on top of it, just their normal like farmer's breakfast with the potatoes and thick cut bacon and eggs and the baguette, the breakfast sandwich, like that to me is the best breakfast brunch you can have in LA. Such a cool, unique space too. Beautiful. I love it.
Great answers. You balanced the old, you brought in the new, you even added the little breakfast lunch twist. I went to Republique around my wife's birthday or our anniversary. Those two things happened to coincide. And the dish that really stuck with me that you got to get next time, it's when you finally go for dinner. It's the baguette with the pan drippings. It's literally just like for their bread course, it's baguette, butter, and the little saucer of their pan drippings.
Oof.
I could live on that alone. So, yeah. I'm ashamed to say I've only been for breakfast once, so I got to rectify that.
All right. So then the plan is I come with you to dinner there. You come with me to breakfast there, and we've touched our bases.
It's a plan. Adam, thank you so much for joining the podcast. People know where to find you. It's at Rick Locks on every platform.
Yes.
Really appreciate you taking the time. So thank you. And hopefully you'll come back on again sometime.
Absolutely. And before we go, I just want to say you crush it with this. There are not that many people out there who eat on the level or quantity that we do. So it's very refreshing to be able to flip on, my Apple Music and my podcast and be able to like listen where you, Father Saul, and the rest of the gang is gone out to eat. And even though we don't agree on everything, which again is part of the whole ball game, I think you guys do an excellent job on just touching the LA dining scene, the scene in general throughout the country and other trends and whatnot. So want to give you your flowers, and you guys are doing an amazing job.
Means a lot, brother. You can come back anytime, especially with words like those. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon, man.
I expect my check in the mail.
Always. Thanks for listening to another episode of the LA Food Podcast. Thanks to our guests for making the time for us. As always, we'll be back with another epic episode next week, but if you're looking for me in the meantime, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Thread, YouTube, even our website at the LA Countdown. You can also find us on Instagram at It's Acquired Taste and at acquiredtastemedia.com. If you like what you heard here today, dear listener, please consider going to wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a 5-star rating or review, even a follow. That really helps us. It means the world to us. Thank you so much in advance.